Held by many as our nation's most poisoned hotbed of source-polluting industry and, by and large, due to the Republican-dominated lop-sided legislature, the state of Utah has become a free-for-all fiesta for mineral barons and the profiteers of environmental waste. Today we zero in on what once was a relatively small and unlined earthen disposal pit located deep within the vast bosom of the Uinta Basin. Closed and abandoned for many years, this little tar scar now looks like this: a gigantic and stinking multi-tiered series of waste ponds that carry the rather innocuous name of integrated water management. One thing that raises the eyebrows about this waste operation in particular is the apparent cheap and haphazard corner-cutting path to profit that IWM has employed. Oftentimes, in state-of-the-art evaporation-style treatment facilities, waste is frequently rotated from one pond to another in an oxygenation effort that attempts to reduce noxious and foul odors. Even some oil field experts that we spoke to off the record privately referred to the Duchesne operation in terms such as rinky-dink and outdated. Integrated water management has recently shot onto the radar screen of the local media as dozens of outraged citizens, including many politically conservative residents who even support their families by working in local oil fields, have voiced complaints of outrage regarding the horrendous and sickening smell of the facility. A smell they contest causes health problems and described as, quote, nauseating, foul, sulfuric, and like a bad outhouse.
The sulfur, a rotten egg smell.
75-year-old Robert Fitzmaurice says he and his neighbors have been living with pungent smells for the last 2 years, and he claims the stench is causing all sorts of health problems.
It gives you nausea and lightheaded and causes your throat to be sore all the time. For you to come up there one time, oh, it smells bad, but it's not a big deal. But if you're smelling that every day, it's going to get you.
Local reporters keyed us in on the fact that the company has been leveraging down with legal power on inspection panels in an attempt to have an upcoming oil factory review moved to a later date during winter months. Due to the low level of evaporation that occurs in the chilly atmosphere of the Uinta Basin during the winter, measurable airborne contaminants would be at their lowest during the year, which residents have pointed out skews the numbers in IWM's favor. What has sparked controversy amongst inner circles is who is behind this company, Integrated Water Management. A Freedom of Information Act request and an in-house record search has revealed that the company's founders and present-day controllers are some of Utah's most prominent and powerful Mormon businessmen. Walter Plum III of the Boyer-Gardner Rocky Mountain real estate empire, alongside of the Republican Party's outspoken heir to the presidential candidacy, Josh Romney. At the same time, J.T. Martin, who conveniently enough is the son-in-law of head honch Kem Gardner of Boyer-Gardner, is the plant manager down at Integrated Water Management. And according to one local reporter who wished to remain anonymous due to fear of backlash, Martin and Integrated Waste Management blatantly denied the notion that Josh Romney is involved with the company. Continuing in our conversation with the journalist, we also ascertained that the company has now declared the reporter a hostile threat, her journalism biased, and has refused any further dialogue or contact. Well, according to our research, the journalist in question has had a long track record of fair, respectable reporting with a variety of different publications. Despite these reported denials of Romney involvement put forth by J.T. Martin and Integrated Water Management, what we uncovered reveals that Josh Romney and Walter Plum III were among the founding members of the Utah-based LLC, registered back in 2010, and information leaked to us via these same sources reveals that both men maintain interest in the oil waste disposal plant. The plot thickened late last summer when the mounting numbers of citizen complaints led to the Tri-County Department suggesting that the Duchesne County Planning Commission put forth a public hearing to examine if the company is in compliance with the odor control parameters laid out in their conditional use permit. Regarding the September hearing, that same anonymous reporter told us, and certainly something we can understand here at EnviroNews, is that when she arrived at the public meeting, she was expecting to see, as we often see, 3 or 4 people in the crowd muttering out a few points of concern while the issue at hand flies quietly over the heads of the general populace. However, in her words, what she walked into this time was a huge surprise as she looked at the totally packed house, filled to the gills with outraged citizens, figuratively on the brink of bringing out their pitchforks. Local Uinta Basin Standard reporter who broke a story regarding integrated water management back in September of this year used these words in her article describing what she witnessed at the meeting. Quote, "After a very heated 3-hour meeting, which at times threatened to erupt, and when J.T. Martin first stood to address both the commission and the audience with a PowerPoint presentation about IWM, the gathering threatened to turn unruly when 2 people shouted out, including one woman who yelled, quote, 'You're killing us.' The fiasco was furthered when at a follow-up meeting days later, the attorneys of IWM cried and pouted about the rules of order not being enforced at the first public meeting, and they were able to get the event successfully postponed until a later date, swearing up and down that it was not using any stalling tactics. The drama was exacerbated when J.T. Martin, claiming a threat to his personal safety, asked for a police escort to his truck. Now, there are several oil companies such as Bill Barrett Corporation, EP Production Company, formerly El Paso, as well as other area operators that are benefiting from the convenience of doing business with IWM as they huck and chuck their pillaged waste by the wayside, laughing all the way to the bank on the back of sick local residents, to the disgruntlement of many local residents and oil industry workers. J.T. Martin has openly and publicly chastised these same oil producers, his own company's customers that is, as being the responsible party for the waste and the smell. Shifting gears back to Josh Romney, who has been politically vocal throughout the presidential campaign, as well as accusatory of the Obama's policies, opens himself up to criticism on the stripes of his own merit, or shall we say lack thereof. The silver-spooned Harvard schoolboy has shown questionable choices of judgment on what has been referred to by some pundits as a trial of buffoonery throughout the campaign season. This was brought clearly to light last summer by the outraged booing from the Ron Paul-laced crowd as he violated party rules in a direct and ignorant endorsement of his delegate, his own daddy, of course, at the GOP delegates convention last summer.
Well, the supporters of Ron Paul not showing a lot of love to the son of Governor Mitt Romney. According to the Arizona Republic, Josh Romney was speaking at the Arizona Republican Party convention, trying to win support for his father's nomination. But the audience of GOP members having none of it, booing Josh Romney off the stage. Take a listen.
When my dad realized that he was going to be the next Republican nominee for President of the United States of America, I was actually with him.
Josh is the third of Mitt Romney's 5 sons, by the way. He tried to calm the crowd down, but was repeatedly cut short.
Make sure that it says paid for Romney and that it's green. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
From the rafters, it looks something like this.
No, they couldn't argue with anything that was said.
Ken Bennett, Arizona's Secretary of State, paid a visit to the unruly Ron Paul support in an attempt to shut down their vocal outrage at the clear violation. And here's how far he got.
You are probably the 100th person in the Republican Party that has told me not to speak. No offense, sir. I appreciate your concern,
we go to,
but no.
Legislative district meetings, county meetings, we are told to shut up and go away. We are told that we do not belong in this party.
I think you all know that I got into
No, but you came over here to tell us to please shut up.
The first part of that was to make sure
Somebody else
I
respect your suggestion and I respectfully decline it. Thank you for your time.
fought that issue. She can't join it.
This is the same Ken Bennett whose son was recently convicted of raping 18 young boys up the rectum with a broomstick, by the way. While we were engaged in our own vigorous mining operation of data and information, another nasty little tidbit of information came our way via our anonymous and covert oil industry correspondents. that reveals that one of the consultants who has been instrumental in heralding the Romney, Plum, and Gardner's family's oil business entry and involvement is a well-known, convicted, and formerly imprisoned child molester by the name of Cliff Murray.